Hi again, John Lortz from discoverskills.com, and today I wanted to give you just a quick overview of this concept called the ribbon. Now, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, starting with Microsoft Office products in 2007 and now in 2010, Microsoft has changed the top of the screen so that we no longer have pull-down menus, nor do we have the regular toolbars. Instead, we have these things called ribbons. Now, what I mean by ribbons is that if you go across the top, you'll see these words. Here's the word home, the word insert, the word page layout, and so on and so forth. Each of these tabs, I guess you could call them, when they're clicked, bring up an area underneath we call the ribbon. So here's the home ribbon. Here's the insert ribbon, here's the page layout ribbon, and so on and so forth across the top. Now, the thing that makes this a little bit different, and for some folks a little bit cumbersome, is that if you're used to using older products that have toolbars and pull-down menus, it can be a little bit cumbersome using a ribbon, because the ribbon makes you jump around a little bit more from ribbon to ribbon, causing extra mouse clicks that before you didn't have. For example, let's say that we're over here on the page layout ribbon and we're doing something on this ribbon right now. And then we decide that we want to come down and we want to highlight the word working, and we want to bold it and italicize it and underline it. Well, in the old days, we'd have a formatting toolbar up at the top that was always visible. Now you can see that up at the top I don't have anything here that's going to let me bold or italicize or underline. To get to those things, I have to come back over and click on the home ribbon until I finally see them here. So that's what I mean by cumbersome. It's cumbersome in the sense that we have to do a little bit more jumping around at the top. Now you might be wondering why Microsoft decided to go to this ribbon concept. Well, there's actually a couple different reasons. First of all, through surveys they found that folks that were new to using Microsoft Word or Excel or PowerPoint or any of their other products found toolbars to be a little bit hard to use, and they actually, by organizing different features onto ribbons, found that folks found it just a little bit easier to use things. For example, if you look at the home ribbon, you can see that we've got different areas here. It's almost a way that we are sub-organizing the home ribbon, and we have a font area, we have a paragraph area, we have a styles area, we have an editing area, okay, and then we also over here on the left hand side we have a cut, copy, and paste area. Now, by organizing these different buttons into areas, they found that new users were able to learn the system a little bit faster. And you can see here too, the one thing I will have to say is that by using these ribbons, they have given us more room at the top to include more buttons than we used to have just on the regular toolbars. So, you know, I guess in some sense that that does make them maybe a little bit more convenient to use. Now, the other reason they've gone to ribbons is because Microsoft is looking to the future, and the future has a lot of tablet devices in it. In other words, touch devices. And it's pretty much well known that toolbars on touch devices are hard to use. What they decided was having this ribbon would be a little bit easier for touch devices, for folks using touch devices to access. And you know, that's probably true, although I haven't had a big opportunity to use a touch device with Microsoft Word to really find that out. Regardless, we are stuck with it, starting with Office 2007 and now with Office 2010. Now, I thought what we do for the rest of this little presentation is take specifically a look at Microsoft Word. And if you look at the top here, just to kind of familiarize yourself with all these ribbons here, the Word ribbons across the top, okay, have home, insert, page layout, references, mailings, review, view, and then add-ins. Okay, we're going to ignore Bluebeam. This is a specific product that I've added onto Word that most people aren't going to have, so I'm not even going to talk about that. In addition, other ribbons can show up when certain things on the screen are selected. For example, if I click on this graphic here, you're going to notice that now at the top we also have a Picture Tools ribbon. And you'll find that for different types of objects that you click on the screen, when they are selected, a particular ribbon for that object might appear up at the top, where you can click and get to very specific things about that particular object. For example, back to this graphic again. When we click on it, the Picture Tools ribbon appears. When I click on the Format tab that comes up under that ribbon, you can now see that there's a whole bunch of different things that I can do to this as a graphic, different effects. When I click away from it, you'll notice that that particular ribbon disappeared. Okay? Now, in terms of the ribbons themselves, there's a couple things that are important to know. First of all, and I'm going to use the Home ribbon as my example here, again, we go back to the fact that the ribbons are divided into different sections, different areas here. Each area has a name underneath it, like here's the font area, here's the paragraph area. But even more importantly, if you go to the right-hand side, the right-hand corner, some of the areas have a small dialog box button. And for example, if we come to Font, and if we click on Dialog Box button here, it brings up the Font dialog box, which if you've used Microsoft Word before is probably a familiar box. We used to be able to get to this little window if we went to the Font pull-down menu and chose it. You can see here's one also for the paragraph. If we click on it, it brings up the paragraph dialog box. So one thing you'll want to do as you go to these different ribbons is look to the corners of them to see if there are dialog boxes that you can bring up. And remember, those dialog boxes are going to bring up features, additional features that you don't see in that particular section of the ribbon. Okay? The second thing I wanted to point out is on the upper right-hand corner of the ribbon area, you're going to see a little kind of up-pointing arrow, and when you click it, that will hide the ribbon. Gives you more screen space to work with. If you click it again, it'll pull the ribbon back down. Okay? The third thing I wanted to bring up is that at the very top of the screen, you're going to notice that there is kind of a toolbar up here. Now, mine's a little bit more extensive than probably what you'll see initially, but this is actually called the Quick Toolbar. And I guess Microsoft included it kind of as an answer to those of us who kind of miss our old toolbars that were always visible at the top. And in essence, what the Quick Toolbar allows you to do is to add your most commonly used buttons to it. Okay, so for example, you can see that I have up here my bold button, my underline button. I've got a bullet button. I have a word or a word wrapping button. These I have added to this Quick Toolbar myself. Now you might say, well, how do you add something? Well, all you have to do is this. If you go to the ribbon that has the feature that you commonly use, like let's say that we commonly use this sorting feature here, okay? And if you mouse over that button and then right-click, you'll notice that the right-click menu that comes up has on it at the very top, Add to Quick Access Toolbar. And if we click on that, there we go. We now have that button on the toolbar. To remove a button, all we have to do is right-click on that button as it sits on the Quick Access Toolbar and choose Remove from Quick Access Toolbar. You'll also see here that at the very end of the Quick Access Toolbar there is a small arrow, a drop-down arrow, and if we click it, it has some different customization things we can do, including this at the very bottom here where it says Show Below Ribbon. And if I click it, you'll see that now we can see the Quick Access Toolbars below the ribbon. Okay? Now, again, I just kind of wanted to give you a quick overview of what the ribbon was like today. I didn't want to get into extensive description of all the different features of each ribbon in Microsoft Word. What I would suggest that you do, and this is probably, again, one of the biggest barriers that most folks have, is simply familiarizing themselves with where things are. And to do that, what you really need to do is just simply flip through the ribbons and look at them. And what probably is going to happen is as you begin to go into the ribbons and kind of look around and see what you have on them, you'll begin to discover where your most favorite features that used to be on toolbars are located. And once you kind of get used to which ribbon to go to for which feature, life gets a whole lot better. Okay, that'll do it for today. This is John Lords from DiscoverSkills.com. We'll see you in the next video.